Hey, hey, hey. It's time for Girl Talk After Dark. How y'all doing? Y'all come on in. It's your girl, Detra Trueheart. Nyisha will be joining us soon. Excuse me. She will be joining us soon. She had another commitment. And so you all come on in. Let me go in and tag you. Oh, there you go. Hey, Janiyah, I see you. Let me see. I'm going to do a tag. Say, hey, girl. Hey, let me know y'all are here. Let me open the comments. Hey, Deanna, how are you? Hey, Anger, how are you? Let me see. Let me see. I'm just typing these comments in. Probably would be easier if I did this on my phone, but it's all good. I mean, on my computer. How y'all doing? Y'all doing well? Is anybody celebrating Thanksgiving next week? And if so, are you hosting? Are you cooking? Are you bringing? Are you showing up with your plate? What's shaking? There we go. Okay, so we are officially live in, let me pull my seat up. We are officially live in the Facebook group. We are also live on YouTube. And so I want to make sure that we're good. You're hosting, not sure what I was thinking. Oh. So for those of you, if this is your first time joining, this is Girl Talk After Dark. This is actually, I'm just gonna call it episode number 3. We have been here 3 weeks in a row, me and Nyisha, and she'll be here, as I stated earlier. She's coming from a meeting. Hey, Adri, how are you, boo? And those of you who are a part of 21 Days of Prayer, if you guys remember, we had talked about doing, like a Girl Talk After Dark and really just having good conversation, whatever it might be. Like it's, nothing like, and so, the months and the days and the weeks went by and we never gotten around to doing it. And Nyisha and I were talking and we were like, hey, what if we just did it? And she made the suggestion and I was like, okay, I'm down. Like we could do it. And so we decided to kind of like do the co-host thing. And the first 2 weeks we had a really good time. And we're like, okay, well, we'll do it like the first 3 weeks in November. And then we'll break for Thanksgiving. We'll break for I Speak Life Live. And then, hey, Shirley, how are you? And then we'll come back sometime in December. We're not sure when, but it'll be after I Speak Life Live, after, we've gotten a chance to get our edges and put our wigs back on and all the things. But again, how are y'all doing? I see Anger is hosting. She said she's not sure what she was thinking. Deanna is cooking, but she's going to her son's. What are y'all doing for Thanksgiving? Are y'all cooking? Are you hosting? Are you cooking and taking it somewhere? Are you just showing up with a plate? And so here we are with Girl Talk. I'm just continuing going back and forth between conversations because people are like jumping in. But so we're here. It's unfiltered. It's unscripted. I'm not really teaching. If the Holy Spirit drops a little something, then we share. But we're really just kicking it. And really just kind of seeing, like, this is the pilot. This is what I call it, the pilot, right? Hey, Marquisa, how are you, sis? I said I'm bringing some wine. That's right. She said, listen, I'm going to bring the beverages, right? I don't know what we're doing for Thanksgiving this year. We're not doing the big family get together this year. And so I think I might just do something small. It's a week before I Speak Life Live. And so I don't necessarily know if I could like up and go somewhere. But what are y'all doing for the holiday? Are y'all ready? Anybody not doing anything for the holiday? Like, I feel like for some people, the holidays are a time to just kind of like settle in. And, I know Adri, if she's still here, her and her friends do Friendsgiving. Are y'all doing Friendsgiving again this year, Adri? Does anybody do Friendsgiving? My friend, Sheena, shout out to Sheena. is doing a mom's giving next Saturday after Thanksgiving. And so I'm going to go to that. I'm pretty excited about that. That'll be my first friend slash mom's giving. But has anybody done a Friendsgiving? Is anybody doing a Friendsgiving? What do you do at the Friendsgiving? I'm really excited. What have y'all been up to? November is about to be done. Like I can't even, right? Like we got like two more, I think like two, it'd be maybe like 2 more weeks. Like we're at the midway point, right? Where we just crossed over. Hey, Apri, how are you? Marquisa says, I'm going to somebody else's house for a change. Child, listen, I know that's right. So for me, some of you know this and some of you don't. I am not a big holiday person, only because we used to host Christmas and Thanksgiving at my parents' house like every year. And so I really just got tired of people, y'all. I got tired of people. And so like the whole, and I think because everybody would come over and then we'd have this big shebang. And then when everybody left, I had to help clean up and all the things. And so I think now that I'm at that point where I really just, I could do without it, I'm just like, ugh. Adriana says, hey, I'm not sure what I'm doing on the actual day yet. I'm either going to my mom's house or host. I am doing Friendsgiving on Friday, then Thanksgiving at my dad's on Saturday. Okay, you got a busy weekend. You're gonna be eating all Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, but all of us are, child. We be eating them child list. So okay, who is a leftovers kind of person? Who's a leftovers kind of person? For me, child, listen, give me some greens, give me some ham, give me some mac and cheese and some dressing for breakfast. Honey, I'm good. What are y'all? Are y'all eating the whole thing for Thanksgiving for breakfast? Which y'all are you who or are you eating regular breakfast? And then see, Marquise said, that's my girl. Listen, who's eating Thanksgiving for breakfast? What do y'all eat for breakfast? Like, do you have a specific choice of things, or are you just getting you a whole nother Thanksgiving plate for breakfast? She said, I eat all the leftovers. Listen, it's something about, and sometimes I might get some candy yams, maybe not, but the greens, the mac and cheese, the ham, and that dressing, child, put it together, honey, oh, honey. Listen, my girlfriend Sharon, I don't know if Sharon is in the group, and maybe some of you may have seen it. Marquisa says turkey with gravy over cheese grits. Oh, I have not heard that. Okay, turkey with gravy over cheese grits. Apri says, I'm a leftover person. I love it. I love it. I love it. Deanna says, I love leftovers, but not for breakfast. She says, I love all of that and pie. Oh, yeah, child, honey, listen. Now, what I am going to do, if I don't cook nothing else for Thanksgiving, like traditional stuff, I'm going to cook me some pies. And we going to eat pies for breakfast. And I'm going to have me some tea with my sweet potato pie. Yes, honey. Honey. Now, who going to have them some sweet potato pie and some coffee for breakfast? Listen, don't that sound good? Turkey over gravy with cheese grits. You better come on here. Who's having sweet potato pie for breakfast with your coffee or your tea? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. There you go. See, Marquisa, that's my kind of girl. Come on, sweet potato pie for breakfast. It's something about it, honey, especially that next day. After, them little spices that set, for a couple days, honey. Listen, Janai says, I do that too, honey. Listen, they're going to set in. Set in. Listen, do you find for the holidays that, like, you have to, like, take a vacation from the holidays, or are you intentional about, like, resting for the holidays? Like, is it, like, for example, with Adriana, you're doing something on Thursday, Friendsgiving on Friday, your another Thanksgiving on Saturday at your dad's house. Like, is Sunday like, don't call me, I'll call you so I can get ready for work on Monday? Or have you or did you take off on Monday so that you can kind of like recoup to go back to work? Like, are you guys like, how does that work? Because it's, it's Black Friday. It's, now it's not as crazy as it used to be because, back in the day, folks would be shopping on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, right? They stopped it on Thursdays. And so, the folks still get up in the morning. Are any of you, let me turn this, is my phone on? Let me put this on Do Not Disturb because these little ding, ding, dings, child of people is texting me. And that particular group, they're going to be, they're going to be, there we go. There we go. They're going to be texting forever. So just so I don't get all the texts, the texts, that's not even, is it texts or is it Texases? Okay. So are you all, I'm laughing at myself because I'm looking at the phone so I can look at the comments, but so are you all like, do you all take a vacation? She said text, no S. So if it's plural, it's still a text. Like they sent me a like I got like 3 texts. Is it text or text or Texas? How many S's or no S's if it's plural? It's like I sent you 3 texts. Did you get them? I sent you a text and then I sent you some texts. It's still text, Marquisa. I don't know. I feel like there's got to be an S on the texts. There were a number of texts sent, right? She said, I just used TXTX. But when you're saying it, Adriana, how do you say it? Do you say texts or text? Texts. You just. So Adrian said, yes, this year I'm resting on Sunday. Don't call me. And the fact that I Speak Life Live, not me making an acronym. Listen, I'll be using that too. Is on Friday. I need rest, but I work from home on Monday. Okay. Text. Okay. All right. So at any rate, that group, child, they're gonna be sending me all kind of texts. And y'all gonna be hearing a beep, 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 beep. And so I just put it on, I normally put it on Do Not Disturb. And I'll just have to watch out just to make sure Nyisha, if she sends me a text message to come in, but she's got the link so she can pop in. So how many of you, those of you who like for the holidays, have you, like Marquisa, I know you're in school. So I know sometimes child professors don't care that we be having holidays and stuff like that. Do you normally have work around the holidays? Maybe like it's due on Thursday or due on Friday or due the Monday after Thanksgiving. So you technically got to be like trying to figure out how to do it. What do y'all do around the holidays? Like, do you, Adriana says she's taking Sunday off because she's trying to chill and get ready for I Speak Life Live. But for those of you, like, what is that like when you have like a busy weekend? Like the family is in from out of town. Like it used to be big for us. Like the family would come in, we would host. It'd be like, 10, 15 people at the house. And then sometimes they would come back over for leftovers. And so, it would just be like, or my mom child wanted to go shopping early in the morning. And so now that you're in a space where you can kind of dictate that, like, what are your holidays like? Like, are you off on Monday or are you chilling on Friday, chilling on Saturday, Sunday? What's that like? I want to know. Oh, and you know what? Speaking of, because I really want to talk about this book that I'm reading. Marquisa, you would love this. And anybody else. And it really was, I didn't know initially. I was just intrigued because at the back of it says for Christian leaders who find themselves exhausted, damaged, and empty. But this person in particular, the author, he is technically he is a coach for he's a what does he call it? Hold on, it's in here. But basically he coaches like pastors and leaders on burnout, right? And y'all know I'm big on like rest and all that kind of stuff, but this is really, really, really good. And it's called The Weary Leader's Guide to Burnout. So I'm just asking, like, how do we hey Robinique, how are you, lovey? The author is Sean uh Nemasek, I want to say. Marquisa says most times I have to work around it, so gotta plan ahead so I can have some fun. But I do take off from work so I won't have the pressure of both. Okay. Yeah, I remember when I was really for both of my master's programs. The one, well, both of them. One was away and one was here, but they were I'm gonna let me see if I can find the link in Amazon and then I'll send it to you. But it's basically the Weary Leader's Guide to Burnout. That's what it's called. But I remember, and so Robinique, we're just kind of kicking it. There's no script here, it's unfiltered. We're just kicking it and talking, and we're just really talking about the holidays. So are you hosting? Are you coming home for the holidays? Are you cooking and taking? Are you just showing up with your plate? Like what we doing this year for the holiday? That's what I want to know. And I want to know, um, do you rest? So like when you're hosting, like, so did you take off Monday to recover? Because I know a lot of times people got to go to church on Sunday. So, tell me what y'all doing. Let me see here. Yeah, but I picked this book up in the airport on my way to Puerto Rico. And we had stopped in this store that was actually owned by a I think it was like a black woman or sisters or whatever. It was like an African American owned store. And they had really beautiful stuff in there. And I just so happened to be, I always flock to the books. And lo and behold, I happened to see this book. And I said, well, I'll be doggone. Let me see here. Let me look at the comments. Let's see. I'm making smaller dishes and maybe stop by one of my cousins. I won't stay that long, so I'll be all right on Monday. Okay. I love it. Let me see if I can put this here for you, Marquisa. See if that'll copy. The best thing that I love, can I say, y'all, about the best thing that I love about Apple products is like I can copy from my computer and paste it into my phone so that I'm not like all over the place. So I put that in there. And I'll put this here as well for those of you if y'all are on YouTube and you all are interested as well. But the book is called The Weary Leader's Guide to Burnout. So here's something that, and I'm going to talk about this. I teach about this. But I just wonder, how you all make time and space. And it talks about like rhythms, life rhythms. And it says like, are you aware of the life rhythms you must adopt to be your best, most energized self? Do you know how you need to move to be your best energized self? And it's really just kind of like, not necessarily a segue, but I really wanted to have this conversation because there's so much in here that he talks about just around burnout and what leads to it. And even though you may not necessarily be a pastor, as a leader, it's the first part is understanding burnout. And so the chapters are, am I in burnout, the many paths to burnout, the inner life, stress and burnout, and energy and rhythms. And one of the things, and I was highlighting all kinds of stuff in here, but one of the things that I learned a few years ago from one of my coaches, and I teach it, is that, you literally have to make sure, kind of like what you pour out is what you got to put back in. And what I find is that a lot of times what we pour out is not the same as what we put back in. And he mentions this here in a space where he says leaders burn out when they are deficient spending on their energy budget. It says they don't allow their recovery time to match their energy output. This results in less energy available for the next stressful event because they're still paying interest on the first one. Each expenditure perpetuates the cycle until, because of insufficient recovery, they soon run out of energy. They are living with the weight of constant anxiety and shame. He goes on to say, he says they become depressed and burned out as their body tells them it needs time to recover. If you ignore your body's need for rest, it may push you into forced recovery through illness, injury, depression, or burnout. He says, I'm convinced one of the key reasons for the ever increasing rates of stress related illness and depression among leaders is because we haven't learned the principle of recovery. We aren't giving ourselves enough time to recover and feel secure or at ease after stressful events. So the stress cycle never ends, and we carry today's stress into tomorrow, next week, and next year. How good is that, y'all? And that was just like this little page right here, child, that I done highlighted everything on. And so I was thinking about, like, just from the holidays, like when you go on vacation, anything like that, even like with the ladies for I Speak Life Live, I tell them, like, make sure you take Monday off so that you can recover from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, because honey, you're gonna need it, right? You're gonna need a day or two to process. And so I just wonder, as we were talking about the holidays, like, do you take time to rest? Like, do you take time just to be, you know what I'm saying? Like, or, do you have moments where you're like, I don't really want to be bothered with nobody. I don't, like, as much as I love the turkey and the dressing and all of that, I'm good with just being by myself. What are your thoughts on that, y'all? What are your thoughts on that? Y'all don't have no thoughts, or y'all just ignoring me? Now, a couple weeks ago, I had asked y'all, it might have been last week. I think it was a couple weeks ago. I had asked y'all, did y'all start it says now I'm good with pulling away, but it wasn't easy because I'm peoply. But it gets tiring. She said, because I'm peoply. I love it. But yeah, it does get tiring. Apri says, I really didn't want to do anything, but I know my children have expectations. So I thought about doing something non-traditional. But they'll have a fit. Yeah, I get it. And I think, like, so let me ask y'all this question. At what point do you kind of say, like, I get what y'all want, but mama is tired? Like, I'm tired. Sis is tired. Auntie is tired. Daughter is tired. Like at what point do we say, like, I'm just not feeling it this year? Like, or do we just, go on to get on because we don't want to disappoint the children? We want to, like, make sure that they have, like, the experiences, the family experiences, all that kind of stuff. But, like, is there a point where we kind of say, you know what, this is a year that I'm just deciding that I'm not going to do that? Or do we just kind of say, I'll figure it out, another time? Y'all help me out. Or are you like Marquisa, you good with pulling away? Like, when the time comes, it's just like, you know what? I have my time away. I'm intentional, about that, even though I might be a peoply person. How many of you all are not? Who are the introverts in here and who are the extroverts? Type in the comments. Who are the introverts and the extroverts? Or do you know? Do you know if you're an introvert or an extrovert? Or are you an ambivert where you can be a little bit of both? I think I'm an ambivert. Um, I can totally be peoply. I totally need um people to, I vibe off of people, but then I also need to get away to kind of like, as the author was saying, I need to get away so that I can fill my cup up. Right. So we have Janai as an introvert, Apree's an introvert. Where are my extroverts at? Marquisa, are you an extrovert or are you an extroverted introvert? Because some people have extroverted tendencies, even though they might be introverts. Let me see. I'm both, but most people will say extrovert. Okay. Got it. Extrovert and introvert. Okay. Yeah, I feel like I'm that way as well. And I think as I got older, I think I used to think I was always a I used to think I was always an extrovert until I started realizing, and maybe that's just the process of me just being aware of the fact that, like, I know that when my people limit is up, I'm out. Like, I just would, I just disappear. I'm like, I'm good. I'm like, I done hit my limit. And so now I will disappear. And it's interesting because even when Deanna says I could go both ways, I love people. But there are times when I need my space. Yeah, that's how I am. I feel like it wasn't until I started being a lot more aware of myself, realizing that I can totally do people, but I definitely need space to recharge. And I don't like at some point when I'm feeling that, I start to pull away. Marquisa says same as I got older, but there are times where I just get socially weird. That's when I pull away and go on the introverted side. Yeah, I get it. Like it's where you just don't want to be, you don't want to people no more, right? Like, and so, how do y'all deal with that? Like, specifically, those of you who can go both ways, like, do people kind of like, oh, what's wrong with you? Or do they know? Like, for a while, like, people were trying to figure it out. But now, I just will tell people, like, if I disappear, it's because I'm all peopled out. So people know, like, she's good. She just don't want to be bothered no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you balance that? Do people know or do they feel some kind of way? Have you always known that you were an introvert, an extrovert, or both? Or did you kind of figure out that you knew like you don't mind being around people or you just would prefer not to be around people? And I think the other part is I think I don't know that I even started to really recognize what to call it until I started taking like the Myers-Briggs and like the disc assessment. And so like I think early on I'm trying to think if because I know nowadays like some of the schools they give the kids some of the personality tests, the assessments and all that kind of stuff, and so I think they sometimes learn earlier than we did. But I want to say it wasn't until I can't remember. Like I think like working and being in spaces, I started to learn about like what an extrovert and an introvert were. But a lot of times it was just like somebody either who was like outgoing and somebody who kind of kept to themselves. That was kind of those were like the words that were used, right? Marquisa says those who know me see it, but those who don't ask the question, what's wrong? Child, I will leave the room with no warning. It's real. You know what? That's so weird. I think that that's why we're like we're drawn to each other because I'm the same way, Marquisa. Like after a while, I'm out. Like I literally will disappear. And it's interesting because I think when I was younger, I didn't always disappear because I think I was struggling with trying to figure out why I was like now like it's like oh dang like I'm ready to go but like can I go now child. I'm like okay, I'm out, peace out homies, peace out. um Apri says they asked what's wrong. I kind of just recently started coming out and being a little more social, but I've always been introverted. Okay, She said, I was involved in a few things as a child, but I was always known as a quiet one. Okay, child, well, you already know I was known as a talkative one, child. I was always talking. They was like, it's quiet time. My parents go to the parent teacher conference. Very intelligent. We love her. We just a little talkative, a lot of talkative. If we can just, curtail the talking a little bit, we'll be good to go. Just a little distracted, but child's always talking, always talking. Always, always, always. So now, have you all taken like like a disc or a Myers-Briggs? Who here has taken like any type of assessment test to kind of get a better understanding of like your personality, like your strengths, your weaknesses, any of those things? How many people have done that? It says, I'm just glad I'm not the only one. Yes, child, listen, you not the only one. And it's interesting because I think that's why like we have these conversations and we get a chance to see. Hey Roberta, how are you? Good evening. Just to see like who's doing what. And that's why I like the Girl Talk After Dark. Like this isn't really a scripted conversation. It's really Girl Talk After Dark. Like, we're just kicking it. Like if y'all got questions, ask questions. What do y'all want to know? What do and I'm asking your opinion because I feel like you all can learn from each other. Like this is just a space that normally it's me and Nyisha, but it's me today, and because she's on assignment. I can't wait to hear about the meeting. What tests have you guys taken? Have you taken the Myers-Briggs? Have you taken the disc? Have you taken the Enneagram? Like I've taken all of those. I'm trying to think if there are other ones. Like I have a master's degree in mental health counseling. So during that time when we were studying assessments and different things like that, like we took, I think there's one called the Big Five assessment, and I can't remember specifically like what my my areas of strength and that sort of thing are. But what tests have you guys taken, if you've taken any? I know for years we read 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens within my youth group, and there's one in there where it's like the different fruits, like they take an assessment and their personality is based on the fruits. I think it's like, are you a banana, a grape, an orange, maybe either a pear or apple. I can't remember. You've taken all of them. Okay, the Enneagram by far is the most life-changing, and it's extremely accurate. The Enneagram is, Marquisa. I took the Enneagram. I think I'm a 7 with, I think 9 tendencies. I think it is. What number are you with the Enneagram? Anybody who has not taken a test, let me know. Like if you've not taken anything. Yeah, it's very accurate. You be like, how you know me like that? You don't know me like that. Like, it's very, very like, even like with your fears and all the things. Haven't taken any tests. I'll have to do that. Yeah. So I will. It's we you said I had to repent too. It's gut wrenching. Oh yes, child. It reveals some stuff. And you like, really? Like that's, oh goodness. I have to look and see. I believe that there is a free Enneagram test that you can take with my Push Into Purpose course. I want to say the second or the third module, we talk about like personality and your gifts and all that kind of stuff. And so if you've never taken like a spiritual gifts test, how many of you have taken a spiritual gifts test? Like, what your spiritual gifts are. But there's I have to look and see, but I have people take those in that, and they're free ones. So I'm not like a consultant or certified in any of them. I just kind of the free ones that either I've taken or like that we use through my master's program. I have them go through that because I think it's really important, because a lot of times people want to have an understanding of like their purpose, or they want to have an understanding of who they are, but they don't really, and what they've been called to do, but they don't really know who they are. And so for you to be able to take some time out to be able to assess, like what your I I know someone who can teach Enneagram sessions. She's amazing if you want the contact. Oh yeah. Yes, I would. I know a person, and I have to find her name is Karen Ward. She does personality assessments. I have to find out if Karen does Enneagrams, but yeah, let me know. Let me know. My pastor, my previous pastor, had us take when I was part of the leadership team, we took the Enneagram, and there was a specific book. I can't remember the book. It was from a guy who actually he's a Christian. And so it had like a Christian foundation to it. And I have to go back and look because I still kind of get emails and stuff from him. But yes, let me know. Hi Pat, how are you? Good evening. So yeah, but one of the things that I will say is if you have not taken the assessments, it's not mandatory, but I think it definitely helps. You identify like your strengths, your weaknesses. Some of them it even helps around like the personal SWOT analysis. So your opportunities, your threats. With the Enneagram, it's again extremely accurate where it even talks about like your fears and like if you happen to like veer over too much to one side, what can happen in a negative way. And then if you veer over too much to another side, what can happen. But I think it's important to be able to know, you know what I mean? And sometimes, being in a space where you can start to ask God to reveal and show things to you, you know what I mean, about you. Even if you haven't taken, personality tests or spiritual gifts assessment, like, has God revealed to you, your areas of gifting, your areas of strength? Because sometimes the reason maybe you're unsure about a thing is because you're unsure about you, right? It is, Marquisa. Self-awareness is so important, right? And so if you don't know you, if you're not aware, like even here, like this talks about just that whole piece of in here of awareness and really recognizing and being okay with, pulling away and not being a people pleaser and not isolating yourself when you're in a space that you find might be unhealthy. And so I just think, it's really, really, really important that we have these conversations because sometimes some of the hiccup is really just you don't know you. And many of you, I've said this often, is that sometimes the reason that the enemy can wreak havoc on you is because he knows you better than you know you. He's been studying you since you were born. He's been studying your patterns. He's been studying like he has angelic demonic forces on duty to be able to watch you. And so he knows, maybe, some of the triggers and the traumas that you've gone through, and they can use those against you when certain things come up. Like, I know what's going to get her off guard. I know what's going to shake her. And so if he knows you and he's studying you better than you study yourself, and you're not paying attention to the patterns, many of you have heard me say that if you're not paying attention to the patterns, then he can literally pull the wool over your head very easily, right? Marquisa says, self-awareness, it helps to identify with avoiding triggers. Yes, and it affirms us where we have strengths. Absolutely. Hello, Shara. How are you? I think this may have been your first time on, and many of you, this might be your first time on Girl Talk After Dark. I'm going to pause really quickly for people who actually may watch the replay. We've been talking for a little bit. But this is just, as I call this is our pilot season. This is our third episode of Girl Talk After Dark. We've been live for the past 3 weeks, and this is something that we started. Essentially, we had a conversation around Girl Talk After Dark, about Girl Talk After Dark, back when we were doing 21 Days of Prayer back in January, which we will be doing again in 2024. So you all be on the lookout for that. But there were some things that we just started talking about, kind of this kind of stuff. Like it may come up in just a conversation during after prayer, kind of like once the person prays, shares whatever, God has given them. And then we just kind of start talking and some stuff just starts like getting pulled out. And it's like, man, like this is good. We can't expand on it here, but we need another like platform or another space to have this conversation. And so that's how Girl Talk After Dark came to be. And so I can't promise you that it'll be every Saturday, because we don't want to be, tying up your Saturdays, child. We know you may not have anywhere to go, but you may not want to be here, and I can respect that. And so we just said, just to kind of get the party going and just to kind of see who shows up and if people enjoy it and if people pop in. And so that's how the Girl Talk After Darks came to be. So we won't be live next Saturday or the Saturday after that, because next weekend is Thanksgiving weekend. And the weekend after that is my live event, I Speak Life Live. And so if you're not coming, I don't know why. You should be registered. You need to go to ispeaklifelive.com to get your ticket. Registration is still open for a few more days. It's happening December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in Niagara Falls, New York, which is about 20 minutes from here. But at any rate, we'll probably be live sometime again in December, right? So with that being said, this is the kind of stuff that we're talking about. It's not scripted. It's unfiltered. Like, we're just talking just about life, as whether, I know in my community, we've got moms, we've got wives, we've got entrepreneurs, we've got caregivers, we've got sisters, we've got aunties, we've got, some people are married, some people are single, some people are divorced, some people are widowed. Like, we've got a whole gamut of people. And so just to be able to have a conversation, you know what I mean? Hey, Tamika, how are you? Good evening. Happy birthday. And so that's kind of, where that comes into play. But, just getting back to our conversation, I think it's important for us to know, to be self-aware, right? And to make sure that we are in a space where, as we are also evolving, that there may be parts of us that may change, right? So there was a time where, like, I think the last few weeks, starting maybe the first week in November, there's been a ball or something going on, like, every week, every Saturday, Friday or Saturday. And I remember a day where I used to be at all of those events. Honey, I'm not going this year. I haven't been in years, but I'm just not the, go out and gala type of person anymore. I don't feel obligated to show up. If I want to go, I go, but most likely I'm probably not going. And that's probably the extrovert in me. But also, as I'm getting older, I'm really content with being at home, right? I don't feel the pressure of having to go out and put on all the things. Like, I just don't, right? And so I think it's important to always take some time to reflect on who you are and who you need to be, not only for those around you, but who you need to be for you in this season. Taking some time to be reflective, taking some time, to sit with yourself, taking some time to ask God, like, who am I and who do I need to be in this new season? Who do I need to be and who do I need to be it for, right? Who am I called to? Because sometimes who you may have been called to last year, you're not called to this year. Who you have been called to last month, you may not be called to this month. And so self-awareness, God awareness, like being aware of who you are, like your awareness of who you are in God, your identity in Christ, like being aware of that, I think is extremely important, because, God can shift you in a moment. You know what I mean? Like, you can go from being a fisher of fish to a fisher of men in a moment. And yes, he can use your skills, but you may have never been a fisher of men. You don't know anything about being a fisher of men. And now all of a sudden, God got you out here doing something that you ain't never done before, right? So just being open to that. And I think, and I don't know about you, but how many of you, one of my favorite books, how many of you have heard the book, Who Moved My Cheese? I love Who Moved My Cheese. How many of you have heard of it? How many of you have read it? Hey, Puddin' Pop, how are you, love? How many of you heard of it? How many of you have read it? Yes. I love that book because, and it's been a minute since I've read it, but I try to read that book at least once a year. Really just as a reminder to stay open to change. Haven't read it yet. It's a very small book. Never heard of it. Oh, let me go into my Amazon. I'm gonna drop a link so y'all can get it. It's so short, like, but it's something that it just deals with change. I'm surprised that I'm trying to think because I taught on who. Were you not around when I taught on Who Moved My Cheese, Deanna? Because I talked about Who Moved My Cheese. We talked about change and Who Moved My Cheese, like back when we were doing periscopes and all that kind of the morning life scope. But this was like 2016, 2017, I believe, when we were talking about it. I really believe. I'm trying to see. And so those of you who I mentioned it before, yeah, I used to teach on it all the time. Like all the time. And I haven't talked about it a lot, but at any rate, I'm saying all of that to say, which means that maybe I need to talk about it more. We can have another conversation about it, but it talks about change, and it talks about there's 4 characters. There's 2 mice and 2 humans, and the basis of it is there's this big thing of cheese, and the cheese is kind of like, whatever you have, settled in, like that is your thing, right? It could be a job, it could be a house, it could be anything. And so I'm gonna put this here. That's for Who Moved My Cheese, and then I'm gonna put this here for Who Moved My Cheese, and you all can check it out. But it just there's and what ends up happening is the cheese again is whatever you deem important, whatever you deem like it's your thing, right? And so it's kind of like, for me, I'll just say back in 2009, a lot of I was laid off from my job. And so my cheese at that point would have been my job. And it's kind of like we get a little entitled around like, well, who moved my cheese? Like who, you get into a space and it's just like, oh, like who said that like you could touch this or who could. And so there's this big thing of cheese, and the mice come in and they basically, are eating the cheese, but they're aware, right? They're paying attention to what's going on. The individuals, the humans, more sense than, or supposed to have more sense than the mice. And they get in there, child, they get comfortable. And over time, the big chunk of cheese starts to diminish. And so when the cheese the cheese disappears, the mice get up and go, and they're called Skim and Scurry, I think their names are. They scurry on, and they do what they, go on to find new cheese. But the humans' names are Hem and Haw, right? We be hemming and hawing. And so at any rate, it talks about change. And so I don't want to tell the whole story for you all, because just in case you get the book and you want to read it, because there's some good nuggets in there, and there's some things that are called like what do they call them? I can't remember, but it's basically like quotes on the wall, but I can't remember exactly what they're called. And it's just like as the guy is like moving along, he's like writing like takeaways and little, epiphanies. And so I say all of that to say that, in your, season and your evolution of like self-awareness, there is going to be change. And sometimes God is going to change some things. And the reason I love Who Moved My Cheese is because it reminds me that the cheese can really change at any given time. That God can decide to literally shift and uplift and uproot a thing at any given time. And a lot of it is, for our development. And a lot of times we don't pay attention to that. But to be aware, right? To be aware and not to get so caught up in a thing that it's like, man, I thought this was going to be like this for forever. So I would encourage you all to check out Who Moved My Cheese. And especially if change is something that you don't deal with very well. And you feel like, like I just got situated and now here you go changing it up again. But yeah, so those of you who are just coming in, what are y'all doing for the holidays? Are you cooking? Are you hosting? Are you taking food somewhere else? Are you taking a plate? I think Janiyah was saying she's bringing some wine. Like, what are y'all doing for the holidays? And what do you all have planned for, like, for Christmas? I'm gonna buy this book for my daughter. Okay. Yeah, and it's a really, I'm trying to think. Give me 1 second, because I think I have one over here. I can show you how small it is. It's not a big book. Here we go. Literally, see how small this is? As you can see, I have all kinds of stuff in here. But yeah, it's not. And so let me just tell you how quick it is. So my son, I had him read this book, and he read it, I'll just say less than an hour, but I think it was like less than a half an hour he went through this book. If he didn't read it in less than an hour, I want to say he read it, because I had him doing 30-minute reading intervals per day. And I want to say he finished it. He started reading it one day and finished it before the 30 minutes was up the next day. That's how quick it is to read the book. It is a very easy read. So yeah, so I'd love to hear what you all think when you get it, because it's, like I said, it's not a big book at all. I've read this. I'm probably going to read this again tomorrow. I'm actually reading this other book, but for whatever reason, this came up. So I think I'm going to read it. And I have multiple. I think I gave him this one. This is one that hasn't been written in or anything. But let me know how you enjoy it, Deanna, when you get it. You guys have any questions? What y'all got going on? She said, we're not going anywhere. We decided not to cook this year. We ordered meals from restaurants for Thanksgiving. Where did you order? Ooh, I love it. Where did you order? I was thinking about calling a friend. She does bulk catering, but I was trying to figure out, like, who does, because I want some soul food, but I don't know if there are any restaurants who are, like, doing soul food just for small, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to order for like 10 people. I just want enough for maybe like 2 days, you know? Where did you order from, Tamika? I want to know. Because I'm not trying to cook. I might cook some pies, because my son loves pies, child. And he loves to help me make the pie. So I probably need to go get some stuff so I can prepare those. And we'll eat 2 or 3 pies, child. Like, we can eat a pie in a day. Literally. Okay, so my people here, who are the sweet potato pie people, and who are the pumpkin pie people? Any pumpkin pie people here? Or y'all all sweet potato pie people? Who's the pumpkin pie? Who's the sweet potato pie? You already know I'm a sweet potato pie child. I don't do pumpkin pie. Or do you not do anything at all? I ordered from Good and Evil Vegan Eats for myself, and Taste of Soul for the rest of the fam. Okay, I've never heard of Good and Evil Vegan Eats. But Taste of Soul. Okay, I'm gonna look them up. Do they have good food? I'm assuming they have good food. Is this your first time, or do you order from Taste of Soul all the time? See, Deanna, that's my kind of girl. Sweet potato pie all day. That's what I'm talking about. Who else? Where are my sweet potato pie people? And where are my pumpkin pie people? It's in Tonawanda. Okay. Yeah, I gotta figure something out. Sweet potato pies only. Listen, that's what I'm talking about. My husband orders them. He likes them. He likes it. Okay. All right. So do you guys do cakes? What kind of cakes y'all like? I said I'm an apple pie person. I was about to say, do y'all do cakes, pie, any kind of other pies? I love apple pies too, child. Apple pie with some good old, warm it up with some ice cream, honey. Listen, I'm getting excited. Do you do cakes? I love red velvet cake, but I love that for the holidays. I love carrot cake. I love excuse me. I love a good pound cake. Last year, my girlfriend Sharon made this cake called the Kentucky, I think it's called the Kentucky caramel cake. And once a month, she does a giveaway. She makes the cakes and she gives them away. Her hashtag, her handle on Instagram is, I think it's purely buttercream. Purely buttercream, but she gives them away. But their cakes are beautiful. They taste wonderful. And so this was it was like with a caramel glaze on it, honey. And I'm probably gonna order one, maybe not for Thanksgiving, but I'm probably gonna maybe order one for Christmas. But it was so good. That pound cake, honey. And I think this year she was doing a sweet potato pound cake. Um, any of you make cakes from scratch? Who bakes from scratch? Like cakes and all that stuff. We're having sweet potato pie, banana pudding, cheesecake, and apple pie. Child, I need to come to your house in Connecticut. I need to come to your house. That's where I need to come. Janaya said caramel cake, ooh, cheesecake, lemon cake, pound cake, ooh. And I'm not a big like sweets eater, but then around the holidays, honey, I will eat me a piece of cake every now and then. I love cheesecake, but my favorite cheesecake is from Cheesecake Factory. It is called banana cream cheesecake. It is the only cheesecake that I get when I go there. Out of all of them 150 slices and 150 choices that they have, I only get the banana cream cheesecake. I don't know why. I don't even try nothing else. And some of the other ones look really good. Now with the cheesecake, do you guys put cherries, strawberries? What you putting on a cheesecake? Caramel? What you putting on it? I've been seeing, so while y'all are answering, people have been doing like sweet potato cheesecakes and sweet potato brownie, like sweet potato cheesecake brownies. Who in here is making that can bring me some? That's all I want to know. Tamika said that caramel cake I posted was yummy. Ooh, now that caramel cake, child. Listen, she says I'll definitely have to get that again. That looked good. Deanna said pecans, caramel, and chocolate. Ooh, that's like a turtle cake. That's like a turtle cake. It's like a turtle cheesecake. I love pecans, but I love pecans, caramel, and a little bit of chocolate. Oh, I know that's gonna be good. I could taste it. Hey Lottie, how are you, love? Good evening. We are just kicking it for Girl Talk After Dark. Oh God. That sounds good. My mouth is watering. All this good old food. But yeah, I'm about to make some phone calls and see who can cook me up something because I'm not in the mood for cooking. Mm-mm. Not I, said the cat. I'm not doing it. I might do a little something. I'm definitely gonna do pies because my son always want pies. So I'm probably gonna go probably tomorrow or Monday and pick some stuff up because I already know he'll be like, Mom, are we gonna have sweet potato pie? And then everything else, honey, I'm gonna try to figure it out. But sometimes, he's interesting. So the one year for Thanksgiving, we did pizza and wings. It was either Christmas or Thanksgiving. I think it was Thanksgiving. I asked him what he wanted, and he was like, "Can we just do pizza and wings?" I said, "You ain't said nothing but a word, child." And we did. And we laid up in our pajamas and we watched TV and we lounged. We did nothing. You hear me? And it was probably one of the best holidays, child. A lot of people are doing pre-orders for the holidays. Yeah, I need to find somebody. I'm gonna send my girlfriend a text message and just ask her, like, is she doing like small portions? Because I think what she posted is like for families who are doing big things. So I think it was like this is like for up to I don't know how many people, but Tamika, yeah, child, these kids nowadays, child, and I'm here for it. You hear me? Because some days the kids want the meals. Like some days he like, Mom, can you make this, 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 and this? And I'm like, you really trying to work me today? And then other days he like, can we have tacos? His favorite tacos, quesadillas. What else he like? That's simple. Pizza and chicken. He like, can we have pizza and wings? It's a couple other things that I like pretty simple. And then every now and then he like a little hearty stuff. But I'm like, I am here for the simplicity of not having to slave over the stove. Do you hear me? Not when I don't have to. Every now and then, I'll do the simple recipes, but where you can get like 2 or 3 days out of it. So like the spaghetti, the chili, I do a chicken broccoli Alfredo, and that lasts us a couple days. But then sometimes like anything with like chicken or like fried chicken, and I don't do a lot of fried chicken. I'll do it in the air fryer. honey, he go right through it. I be thinking like, oh, we're gonna have leftovers for like child. No, he done ate it all. You hear me? He loves fried chicken. So like if we do go out somewhere and they have fried chicken, he'll get it because he loves it. but but yeah, so one of the things that I asked earlier, for those of you who are just here, and I had asked if let me see here. I'm just double checking. Let's see if I haven't missed anything. Do you guys like rest? So obviously like for you, Tamika, you're not cooking, you got your stuff all situated or whatever, but for those of you who are cooking and you're hosting and all that kind of stuff, do you plan like for like a day off? Like, are you resting on Friday and Saturday, or, doing things like, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, resting on Sunday, or are you taking off Monday just so you can kind of recoup? What does that look like? What are y'all doing for that? For those of you who just joined in. And then the other thing that I will ask, while I'm thinking about it, is I have an idea. I sent an email out, but some of you may not be on my email list. I sent an email out, and just about like what would you. So I'm looking at Black Friday, and so I know some of you have like done all of my stuff, and some of you have not. What kind of Black Friday offer would like tickle your fancy, right? Like I have my 90-minute strategy session. I have my inner circle community. I have I Speak Life Live, which the tickets are going to be going off. The sales are going to end soon. But whether maybe this year or next year, like, would you want to like get your seat for next year? I have a few master classes that I did this year that I could possibly bundle. What would you want to see for a Black Friday bundle? Like I said, I have an idea of what I want to do, and it's probably going to stay the same. I don't know. But what would you want to see? Like, you know what, this would be good for a Black Friday offer. What would you think? I don't have no ideas. I know that there's like a 5 second lag, so I'm gonna wait for a minute. No ideas? Okay. Well, if y'all think of something, y'all let me know. Um, what else y'all want to talk about? I'm all talked out. I'm trying. I normally have somebody here talking with me, so I normally don't have to talk for the whole like when we're here. We don't have much to talk about. I can let y'all go. I have been nursing a sick kid for the past 2 weeks, and I have been actually trying to keep myself from getting sick. I could feel something trying to get me, and I've been taking all the things so that I'm not getting sick. Because honey, I have an event in 2 weeks, so I can't be sick. You know what I'm saying? But and also just trying to preserve my voice and all the things. Um, so yeah. But I think that's it. Y'all, and what y'all got to say? What questions do you have? What other types of conversations y'all want to have on Girl Talk After Dark? Oh, I have a question for y'all. What are y'all watching on Netflix and Hulu and Prime? What are y'all watching during this holiday season? I think I asked a couple weeks ago, but I want to know what y'all watching. Are y'all watching anything? Do y'all watch TV? Right now, I'm watching Suits on Netflix. Now I know that it's been around for the longest time, and I never took any interest to it. And I think I heard somebody talking about it, and so I started watching it, and it's actually fairly good. I'm on season 2 now. All Christmas movies. You're one of those, huh? You know what I can watch though? Even though I am an adult, anytime it comes on is Home Alone. Home Alone 1 and 2. Anytime it's on TV. Now I haven't really been watching TV lately because I've been working and preparing for the event and watching Suits as my kind of like rest and reprieve type thing. But I will watch like Home Alone. I'm not a big Christmas movie kind of person. Like I'm not gonna watch Hallmark. I'm not watching Lifetime unless it looks good. And then sometimes we will watch, like that every year, like Netflix or Disney Plus will do like a Christmas movie, and so we might watch that. But my show right now has been Suits. And so how do you like Suits, Tamika? Christmas movies, but I'm not a TV watcher. Yeah, I'm not a big TV watcher either. Like I have my shows and I forgot that the actors were on strike. So I have been looking for my shows. Like, where are my regular shows? Like I watched FBI, I watched The Equalizer, which I just found out is coming back for season 4. But I think a lot of them are not starting until February because the writers haven't been writing, the actors haven't been acting, like nobody's been doing anything. So, but my shows that I watch, FBI and The Equalizer. Oh, you watched it? Okay, you watched the whole thing too, Deanna? Okay, yeah, I like Suits. You know what else I like is Law and Order Organized Crime. I like the organized crime. I like SVU, but I'm not like a lover of SVU. I will watch it, but I love the new one, the organized crime. So I'm waiting for that to come back out. I wasn't sure if oh, look who done popped in. Hey boo.
Ooh, hey.
You on
I'm so
mute. You gotta unmute yourself.
Oh, let me unmute. Okay, wait.
But yeah,
Can you hear me now?
I can't hear you. Let me see. Let me make sure. We had to go through this the last time. Let me see. Um, Let me make
You
sure my
acting up.
settings are correct. But yeah, I wasn't
See
sure
if you
about
can.
you on season 8. Oh, okay. So I still have a lot I still gotta kind of, get through it.
Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Uh-uh.
Let me see.
Such a-
Yeah, I can't hear you. I see you, but I can't hear you. Can you hear her? You can hear her, Deanna? Can you hear Nyisha,
Can
Deanna?
anybody hear me?
She says you can hear. We watch the same things, FBI and Equalizer. She can hear you. I can't. That's so funny. Oh, you know
Hey,
why? You
that's
know why? Okay, y'all wait. Don't wait. I had my computer on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Mhm. Yes, I could probably hear you then,
Ooh,
but I had my
oh
when
my God.
I had switched over to when I was looking at my YouTube
Mhm.
channel just to make sure I was live. I put it on mute so that I didn't hear the feedback,
Uh,
and I forgot to cut it back on. So when Deanna said she could hear you, I was like, "Oh shoot, I remember I put my computer on." Yes.
listen.
Huh? You had a good meeting?
Whew. Listen, I owe all kind of apologies, but let's just
You ready to preach, pray, and
when
prophesy?
when woo, when you step in the room with purpose and calling, and it's like,
she had a meeting with her apostle, y'all. And y'all know when you get in the meetings with the peoples.
and this whole ordeal from the beginning, I kept telling my husband, "Oh no, they want to talk to you. This is about you. This ain't got nothing to do with me."
Mm-mm.
Oh,
Mm-mm. He said, I want to
oh
talk to you
Lord,
too.
okay. Oh, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
mm,
Uh-huh. So we were just talking about our
yes.
TV shows and stuff.
Oh, what we
Mm-hmm.
watching?
So I'm watching Suits. Tamika's watching Suits.
Okay.
Deanna finished Suits. She already watched it. And I was asking her about the Christmas movies. And so let me go back and Janiyah is watching all the Christmas movies.
Okay.
Who else? Deanna is watching the Christmas movies, even though she's not a TV watcher. She's watching the Christmas movies. What else are y'all watching? What else is good? Did y'all watch the Tyler Perry thing on Prime? I think it's on Prime, either Prime or Netflix. It just came out. I've been seeing like good
I
things
haven't
about
watched.
it.
Mm.
I haven't either. Do you guys now? I know Tamika does, but do you guys watch listen to podcasts? Anybody listen to podcasts? What are y'all listening to? I know Tamika's big on audiobooks. Not
Love
yet.
it.
Okay. Yeah. You know, I wasn't always a audiobook person until I started walking a couple years ago. And now mind you, I only when I'm listening to books, I only listen to books that are um narrated by the actual author.
Mm.
Because a couple of them, so like even like the Michael Todd book Crazy Faith, I got it, but I couldn't listen to it because the person who was narrating, I couldn't take him. He wasn't Michael Todd. Now I know the new book is, I think, is being narrated by Michael Todd, and so I'm looking forward to that. But like TD Jakes, The Disruptive Thinking, he narrated that, but there are a couple of books that I wanted to get, but I didn't because he's not narrating them. For
Okay.
whatever reason, it's more interesting to me because I feel like they're talking to me. But like if it's somebody that's not, I'd be like, mm-mm. Tamika says she listens to a lot of financial education podcasts and self-help. Nice. We might have to do a post in the group, and so you can drop them in so people can be listening, find something to listen to, share those resources. Anybody else listen to podcasts or audiobooks? We were talking
You
about
know,
one of my favorite
I
books.
listen to. Oh yes, I read that one with the 16-year-old a couple years ago when he was
Mm-hmm.
when he was like 14.
Mm-hmm. I had Dallas read it last year. I was trying to
Mhm.
find books for him to read that I was like, I think he can. Child, he didn't read it, like zipped right through it. And I was like, Lord, it's much better when the author reads the book. It is much better.
Yeah.
Like it's, I don't know. Like I listened to, I don't want to say I read, but I listened to Bamboozled by Jesus by Yvonne Orji, which was really good because she narrated it and she's funny. We Should All Be Millionaires. I listened to that. Rachel Rogers, she read that. And so like people who, you know, I can hear them talking, it's just better. Like it's like they're talking to me. And I do have some books that are there that are not, but I feel like they just drag on. And so I'm like,
I think it makes sense when they have, these are people that we're used to hearing them speak, so we're used to that level of communication or hearing their voice. It's
yeah,
different if it would be some, I don't mean random author, but if it, what I'm saying, if it was an author that didn't have a platform or a presence where we hear them often, that
yeah.
makes sense to me. I'm like, I don't want to pick up a TD Jakes book and hear somebody else talking.
Mm-hmm. Well, the other part is some people, I've heard some narrators that are not the authors, and it's not bad.
Right.
But there's been a couple, child, like that Michael Todd book. I was listening to the person, and I just was like, I couldn't get into it. And maybe it was because there was this expectation that I thought like Michael Todd would be reading it. But for me, I kind of feel like even if it's not the person, like at least get somebody who sounds like they're excited about reading it.
They
Um,
connected to the content.
yeah, you know what
Right.
I mean?
Yeah.
But child, I said, oh no, I'm not reading. I'm not listening to this. So it's sitting there. I'm probably never gonna listen to it because I can't get into it. And then I think once I started listening to people who were narrating their own books, child, that's all I do now. Like that's who I'm listening to. I'm not listening to nobody else. Um, but it also just makes it easier for me. Like when I'm walking, I could like, it's like I'm listening to them talk to me. And so it's not a boring walk. It's, I'm listening to their story. So that's how I
Right.
really got into that. But prior to that, all of my books were regular books because I like to write in my books. I like to, like this new book that I'm reading, I'm already like writing and asking questions, and child, I even got all the pages underlined and all kinds of stuff. And so and then the other thing I will say with audiobooks, 9 times out of 10, like a book like this, the one that I'm reading now, I probably would not listen to it because there's so many nuggets in it. Like the book has to be maybe a biography, or even like with disruptive thinking. I ended up getting it, I think, at the time because I think I had like, Audible points and I didn't have nothing else to get. So I was like, I'm just going to get it. But normally I would buy that book because there were so many nuggets in it that I was like, I got to go back and listen to this again. Just to highlight and all that kind of stuff. And so
Right.
I'm kind of like, when I'm doing audiobooks, it's got to be something that for the most part, either biographical or I don't know, like storytelling type. um and some of them are not, but after listening to them I'm already like, I know I'm gonna have to buy this book.
Mm-hmm.
um so yeah, because like Atomic Habits, I've listened to it twice, but that's a book you really should read, you know what I mean? But
Right.
I like listening to it because I like taking in what he's saying, but I do have the book. But listening to it is just like, like
Yeah.
I should be reading this, but I like listening to it.
Right. Right.
So yeah, what are you reading now?
I just got, I'm on this fiction thing because I've been trying to do some little pleasure reading. So I just got this new one that I checked out from the library.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't started it yet. I'm still finishing up the Cedric the Entertainer book, but this is Let Us Descend by Jasmine Ward. So
Mm.
this is a new fiction book. And then I am also reading, this one here. See, my receipt is my bookmark.
I used to do that. Kingdom Principles, Miles Monroe. I know that's gonna be good.
At the library, we have a whole thing about what kind of bookmarks we find in people's books. Receipts, checks, joints.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, but this
I
so
hope
this
that hope the check was cashed.
no, they needed to, we had to call, try to track them down so they could come get that check.
Oh Lord.
Yes, honey. Had to track them down,
No.
get that check.
Lord. They
And of course, yeah,
missing out on money.
yeah. So that's two of the main ones that I'm reading right now.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. That.
Nice.
And I got this Tupac Shakur autobiography that I haven't started yet. I came home with like 3 books from work yesterday. It's like,
You
yeah,
like,
let
I
me
want
get
to read these books.
And if you now, I would assume, I don't know about Buffalo, but I know we got a couple people in the community who are in Georgia. And if you're in Georgia and you live in Georgia, you can get a Pines library card no matter where you are, and you should be able to have access to Libby, which is a
Yes.
free platform to get you some audiobooks. You can get ebooks and digital magazines too, but you can get free audiobooks on there. That's why I do most of my audiobook listening is on our Libby app.
Okay. Yeah, I have Libby, and I keep my Audible because some of the books Libby doesn't have. And
Right,
so for the books
right.
that they don't have, I just go on and get them. And
Mhm.
really it's books that and sometimes even if they do have them, if they're books that I want to read like multiple times, so like TD Jake's book, I'm going to read that again. I'm going to listen to it
Right.
again. Atomic Habits, I know I'm going to listen to that again. There's a couple of books like that I'm like I might as well just but then there are a couple of books that I did get. I'm trying to think what was it was one of the and I actually went back and listened to it again, even though it was on Libby, was Eat the Frog
Okay.
by I think it's by Brian Tracy.
Okay.
Um and it was like another book that I listened to. And they're really short books, but I listened to them like a couple times and I was like, ooh, this is good. But it's weird because some books, like I'll go and see see which books I'll just say like aren't like the popular books
Uh-huh.
that you can
Uh-huh.
get, you know what I mean? And so that one, like I was able to take it out multiple times because there wasn't a wait.
Right, right. Yeah, that's a
Mhm.
good move because that is one thing, honey. I put something on hold one time and it was like you are number 112. Well,
You're like, well, we'll see when that pops up.
right, right. But
Wow. Now, do any of you have Libby? Are you familiar with what Libby is? Um, it's funny because a lot of adults, especially if they have kids, like once their kids get older, like they don't have the library card anymore because it's like, what do I need it for? But like even now, like I think through this one, I think I'm using Dallas's because I don't even know where my library card is. I know I have one. I haven't used it in forever. And so Libby is hooked up to his library card.
okay, okay. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Because it was
yeah.
easily accessible. Because I'm like, well, we use
Mhm.
it. And at that time, I think when I looked it up, and I connected it, we were going to the library at least once a week, like getting books and stuff, which I actually want to. She says the wait is why I haven't signed up. Yeah, the more popular, that was Tamika. The more popular books, you normally have to wait for them.
Mhm.
And so it does kind of get a little annoying. But like if other books you can look up, so sometimes if you are okay with waiting, like for example, around the time that there were like big conversations with like race relations and stuff like that, um like books like White Fragility and like
Mhm.
books like that, all of those books were taken out.
Right, right.
And literally there was like a whole line of people who were waiting for them. Hey Ebony, how are you, love? And some of those I was just like, child, I'll come back, or I'll end up getting it on Audible or whatever.
Right.
But at any rate, I want to start going back to the library with him because we were going, on a weekly basis, and I was having him, pick out books to read. And it's interesting because I have to figure out a better way, because I do buy books for him. But once he reads them, I may end up having him read them again. But once he reads them, it's done, so we have this library of books, but a lot of the books are not books that you can find in a library. And so like I'm trying to be intentional with getting books that have African American characters. So like he had like some books that I got off of Amazon. They were called the Steam Chasers or something like that. And so it was like it was a STEM based book, but STEAM. And so I got like however many books it was, I bought them because I'm like, I want him to be able to, stuff
Right.
that they have, and I don't mind, him reading other stuff, but I still wanted him to be able to find himself in those characters. And so
Right.
a lot of what I buy, whether Amazon or Target or whatever, now I'm kind of like, I have these books. And so even though I really love the fact that he can have like a library of books, some of them I'm probably like at some point I'm probably going to either have to donate them or give them away just because he's going to be reading more books. So I don't know, what's your suggestion as a library, as a mom, and then those of you who, I know many of you, your children are older. How did you manage, your children's reading, and even like, just having a library books to read? Like, are there certain books that you're like, no, we're going to keep this in the library? And then other books, like, we can rent this. Like, those of you who are listening, what are your thoughts? And then for you, Nyisha, what are your thoughts about that?
So for us, I have certain books that they've read that I keep like on my shelf somewhere. I'm like, this is impactful in a certain way. I want you to be able to revisit it. I want to be able to tell you why this is impactful or what it meant to you in your reading journey. Like Michael started reading at like 3.5. So the book that he started reading at, we keep that book in the collection. But then they all have shelves in their room. And then I talked to them about pruning their shelf, but keeping books, and if they mean something to them, and that kind of thing. Michael will go back and reread a book faster than his siblings will, especially the baby. But so they have that collection, and I do encourage them to keep books because you never know if you're going to be able to find it in print later. I tell them about that. You never know. You get older, you have children, and you want to go back and revisit this book with your kids, but there's no guarantee that, especially like you were saying, books that have main characters that are African American or people of color, depending on the publishing house, there's no guarantee that it's going to be in print 10, 15 years from now. So we definitely are mindful and keep those kind of things. Other books, getting them access to, there's some books, like I said, we definitely buy to keep in the house. That is also the good thing about Pines, is that even if we don't have a book in our building, the Pines card gives them access to every Pines library in the state of Georgia. So if by chance, because my library that I manage it's a good sized library. It's not a tiny library, but it's a smaller library. We only have so much shelf space. But if we can't find it on our shelf or at our sister library, that's the closest one to us, if I can find it in Athens, we can get it.
Yeah, they have that here too. Yeah, they have that here too.
And it's, and it's for us, it's the whole state. So, but I do talk to them about their shelves and keeping books and being mindful, books that could be rare, and I know, of course, being a librarian and writer and into publishing, I talked to them about that whole publishing cycle and how things do go out of print. And, you may not have them, when you go to look for them in 20 years, you'd be trying to hunt them down in a used bookstore somewhere.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Tamika said, we donate our books and give them away in the Buy Nothing group on Facebook. I didn't even know that was a group. I'm gonna have to check that out. And then, hey Sonia, how are you? And she says, we do keep some, the ones we'll read again. Yeah. And well, so now that you talked about, thinking about how long we'll have them. So I have a group of books that when Dallas before he was even born, my baby shower, I use books instead of cards. So the books that have like, special notes in them, I have those books. I kept those.
Right.
Because, they have sentimental value of just who, writing to him before he was born. Right. But then the books now, like a lot of those books are written by African-American authors with African-American characters. So now when you say that, I'm like, okay, well, we're definitely going to keep those. Like there was, I think it was on Disney Plus. I can't remember the name of the show. I think it was called Crossroads or something, but it was a book. It was about a young two young Black basketball players and their little story or whatever. And so I bought the series. It was like a 3-book series, and so I bought that. And so and to be honest, most of the books that I buy, I try to make sure that he is represented, because even like when I go to Target, I might see a whole bunch of books with little Black girls on them but no Black boys.
Yes.
And so it's important for me to make sure, that the books, and even I think the books that I was looking at for the one little girl, not little girl, but it had the young lady on the cover. I think she had like a series, but I'm like, like, where are the books? You know, so only books that they have, Harry Potter and some other kind of like Dragon Slayer type thing. And I was like, that's cool, but I really want him to be able to see himself, you know what I mean? And even just like read about the stories of other, you know, kids, you know, that look like him, specifically because some of those books that he reads in school, they don't, you know, and I know that they have them reading, and it's neither here nor there. But now that you say that, I'm probably going to have to create a separate space for those books as keepsakes, because in another 20 or 30 years, he may want to pass those down to his children, or even, you know, my now great nephew, you know, just to have books that they can read, you know what I mean? So I got to
Yes.
figure it out. Like, I feel like at some point, I'm just like, my ideal house has a library. And so I just feel like, you know, those books are going to go on that shelf, and, you know, cuz I have books everywhere. So I'm now trying to figure out, like, do I need to buy like different bookshelves to compartmentalize everything and keep it in one spot, and moves, you know, to basically create space in one space and then make more space in another space, you know, just for my books, because I just have so many of them. And so, and some of them I'm going through and I'm just like, okay, which ones do I want to keep and which ones don't I want to keep? But specifically, I know for him, because he's ever evolving, he's only in 7th grade now, he's got
Right.
lots of reading to go. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, okay, well, how does this work? Because we can't keep all the books. So,
Right.
but you know, the suggestion from Tamika and the suggestion from you will help me in trying to figure out how to, you know, manage that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Deanna says that's good. I went to the African American Museum in Washington, and I bought my grandson books that look like him. Yeah,
Yes.
it's extremely important to me. It said, or you can store them in a clear storage tote. Yeah, I think I'm probably going to do that as well. But it's really important because what I found, and I had, and just over the years, that there just were not a lot of books, and still aren't a lot of books geared for little Black boys.
Right.
um you know, you see the pictures with the little girls with their cute little hair and the cute afros and all that kind of stuff, and there's some, and even now some of the ones that now have recently come out, he wasn't, you know, they weren't around when he was little. um
Mhm.
and so, you know, part of me is like, oh, I just want to have it just to put it in his library, because, you know, it's a little Black boy on it, but he's 12, and, you know, I'm sure those are for like 5, 6, 7 year olds. But it is important, Deanna, to start building your grandson's library around books that he can read, and just to be able to see characters that look like him, I think are important. You can take the stuff out and heat it up.
And that's so tricky too with the publishing or books that are out there. Sometimes there are more books, but you know, we have a lot of great authors and African American people that are doing things independently. And it
Mm-hmm.
goes back to whether they have distribution, you know, that the bookstores will buy through, or that the libraries will even buy through. You know, we I used to have a lot more flexibility with vendors, and then our regional library system took on this new acquisitions model, and it's kind of limited. Everybody has to kind of be clear because there's mark records, and that's a whole other thing, like mark records and stuff that they need. So now it's always been Baker and Taylor as our main, but I used to have flexibility to order from any other ones. And I just don't
Mm-hmm.
have as much flexibility now. Because of this new acquisitions model. So sometimes I know there's a lot more people doing Black's character series, but then that's the other part of that is the distribution in a place like Target or in your library, you know, different things like that. It varies.
There's a young lady here, Stephanie, who actually, she's one of my old coaching clients, and she came to maybe like one of my very first one or two I Speak Life lives when they were half days. She actually, her and her mom own a local, like an online Black bookstore, and I think it's called Second Chapter, and they ship too. So, but they do a lot of stuff locally. And so when you talked about the whole independent thing, I probably need to touch base with her because she has a nephew that's around the same age as Dallas. And I know she's very heavily involved in DEI work and just making sure like that, our kids, are represented in
Right.
specific, industries and stories and
Right.
different things like that. And so, because she that the bookstore is something separate from what she does professionally, but they are
Okay.
in alignment. But when you
Right.
said that, it made me think of her because I know like she's always sharing different types of books that either they have on hand or that you can get online. And so
Yes.
I'm gonna have to touch base with her and
Yep.
see.
That'd be good. That would be good.
Yeah. So yeah, so I just always trying to just make sure, our kids can have access to resources and stuff like that. Is important. But yeah, I gotta go through those books and kind of figure out how we're gonna get rid of some of that stuff. Cause again, I'm definitely thinking about doing the storage totes. And I have to think, maybe the stuff that we're not using, the stuff that he's not reading, the books that maybe he's already read. I'm gonna move that stuff out of there and then leave space for you know, new books, I'll just say. Because he
Mhm.
can also take books out of the library at school. But the only thing with that child, he be coming home with um Ninja and child and then the what's the new design of the books, the comic book style books.
Graphic novels.
Yes, is that what they're called?
Mhm. The graphic novels.
Yes. Well, his mom calls them the comic book style books. And I'm what is he's like, mom, it's and so for me, I'm like, no, I want you to read a traditional book so that I know you're not just looking at the pictures and it only has like 3 or 4 storylines on the things and so he'll come home with those and he'll read them, like, and some of them will actually be like pretty thick books.
Mhm.
And so I give
Mhm.
him the freedom to look at those, but then I go and buy books that I'm like, no, I actually want you to like get in the habit of picking up a book and actually reading it with no pictures and he still does. He's a good reader, but I'm like, what is this? Like, this is not a book. And he's like, Mom, it is a book. It
It
is
is
a
a book.
book, Mom. It is a book.
It is a book.
And I'm like, well, that's not the kind of book I want you to read. So I do give him the freedom to read the graphic style. That was a graphic novel.
A graphic novel.
I'll give him the freedom
Mhm.
to read his graphic novel, and then I just kind of slide in the
Yes. Yes, I do
traditional
that with
book.
my boys. A lot of the graphic novels are bringing a lot of boys to read more. So we're loving that because they'll come in and they'll ask for Big Nate or whomever of those graphic novels. But we also do try and encourage them to balance out. Okay, how about this? You get one graphic novel and let's pick out one more, of these. But so we
Mhm.
want them to be excited about reading and use it as a reel, to reel them in with those graphic novels. And so
Okay.
yes.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
he's
your little
not.
cousin had tons of them, honey. Oh, the big Nates, the bad
Mhm.
guys, the
Mhm.
Captain Underpants, all of them.
Yeah, Dallas was big with Captain Underpants for a long time. He read those. I think he did
Mhm.
read the Big Nates. It's another character that I can't remember. But yeah. He was what's his name? Shoot. The very first one. Not it's not Grumpy Kid. What's his name?
Oh, Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Yes, the Wimpy
Mhm.
Kid. Yes, that
Mhm.
one. And so
Yeah.
he was reading those as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Just trying to balance out making sure that he is, even like now I told him that we're getting ready to cut down. Now, mind you, he's been home for 2 weeks. So he's been living in a lap of luxury, child. And I'm like, child, you going back to school on Monday. You hear me? When I told him that, his screen time, child, is way over the limit. Um,
Yeah.
but there hasn't been much for him to do. And,
Mhm.
because his energy level had been low, it's like I could tell him to read a book, child. He gonna be sleeping 5 minutes. So I just kind of let him, but starting probably after the holiday, because he only have 3 days next week, we gonna get back on track. But yes, child, being home with a sick kid, whew,
Yeah.
child,
Yes. Bless your cousin.
child.
Bless your prolonged time.
Listen, oof. So yes, but oh my
Did you
goodness, it's
make did you make
9:45.
did you make the spicy lemonade?
Not yet, but I
Okay.
did make him some tea from my I hope he's back to himself too, child. Cause listen, this little person over here.
Yeah.
Um, but I did I made him some. I had, I have the elderberry tea, the elderberry fortress tea.
Hmm.
So I made some of that, and it has whatever the little ingredients in it is. But I had a cinnamon stick, some cloves. I put some of that in
Hmm.
there, and then I already put the lemon in there, but I did put some orange juice in there. The only thing I didn't add was some of the other stuff, but I added the honey, and it was something else that I added, and so I heated that up so he could have that. And
Okay.
so what I am going to do is I'm going to mix up a batch when we get done. So now when you squeeze it, do you squeeze the oranges and lemons in a bowl? The juice?
Yeah, I just put it. Yeah, I just put it in a cup because I end up putting mine in a mason jar, or I repurpose bottles that I've gotten of this like tonic that I order. Because they're glass. So, but I do mix it all. I squeeze it in a bowl, or if you have a big measuring cup like the Pyrex type measuring cups, I'll squeeze in there and then get your seeds out, and then mix the other stuff in there with it. Honey,
Okay.
I got to try to find me a good deal on some lemons right now because I got folks not to my some. I need you to make some. I'll buy it. And I was like, wait, that ain't what I was
Mhm.
originally doing. But I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I got to have a good deal on some lemons to do that
Mhm.
because at the store they ain't no joke.
Mhm. Well, either
Oh,
that or you charge accordingly.
it could be that. Could be that. You're
See?
right.
See?
You're
See?
right. Which is gonna be
Uh,
either way because it takes time. I mean, I do it with love. Absolutely. I will
mhm.
go to whoever I want, whoever taking it to get well real fast. But
Mhm.
uh, even squeezing them lemons and stuff, ain't no it takes time and love to do it. But so yeah,
Mhm.
I got a couple of leads on. I got a couple peeps who have lemon trees, and they don't use them like that. They might use a few,
Okay.
but I'm like, okay, well, let me know.
Mhm.
I'll come pick them myself.
Yeah.
I'll come
Yeah.
pick them
Okay.
myself. But
I love it. Now so those of you who are like listening, my cousin, she is all well, we talked a couple weeks about Urban Girl Farm, and so all things like natural, herbs, all kinds of stuff. And so like she's growing her first batch of greens in her garden, and she got some other stuff going on. And so she makes this spicy lemonade, basically kind of to help with the immune system. And so that's really what we're talking about, because my son has been sick for 2 weeks. And so if you all can hear me, I have like a scratchiness in my throat. So I'm trying not to get sick, or at least trying to contain what is trying to overtake me. And so we've been trying all the things. So here's my question to you all while I'm sharing this. Because she created it and sent me the text message with all of the ingredients. What do you guys use when you get sick, whether for you, for your children, or whatever? Like, do you have like natural remedies that you use? Do you have like a go-to cough medicine that you use? What are y'all using to stay well? Like even now, like I have a elderberry elixir that my girlfriend Latoya had bought for me, and we just kind of like ran out. And so I went to the website to order some, and I didn't order it yet. But I feel like I need to get some of that, and that's got some of the stuff in it that is supposed to like be good for you.
Mhm.
And then a friend of mine, he actually recommended child, let me look at the name, because it was like moonshine something. Um
Take the hair off your chest.
yeah. Um and so let me see. Oh, here we go. I'm about to look at the name of it now. So, but it's an elixir as well. And he was like, I swear by it. Like it's it's called Urban Moonshine
Mm-hmm.
Immune Zoom. It's called Immune, yeah, Immune
Ah,
Zoom. It's a elderberry boost, a herbal first aid. Now, he said he swear by it, so I'm a, I did actually look at it. Get some oregano oil. You just need 1 or 2 drips and some tea. I have some oregano oil. I ran out of
good.
it. And I used to put it in my orange juice, child, because it
That's
was burning
good.
my throat. And I was like, see, y'all are
Yeah,
playing
oregano oil.
with this, child. It's nothing to play with.
You know what used to
And
be
then,
one of my go-tos
what's that?
early in motherhood?
What's that?
My breast milk.
Really?
What? Honey, yes. Every time I was nursing, the older two, I got three. So when I got pregnant with my daughter, that older one, you getting shots of this breast milk. I'm taking it. Same thing when I had the baby. Yes,
Really?
honey. Yes, I would get them shots of breast milk. If they got a scratch, I put breast milk on it. If they got a scrape, and
Really?
and Lene had just had Lauren right when the pandemic happened. She was actually on maternity leave and basically really never went back to work that year. So, honey, I was telling her, listen, whenever her supply was up, I was like, I need you to slide me a bag of that mother's milk. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
What? Yes.
Did y'all
Because
know that?
all the stuff in there, and people think I'm
Shut
crazy. I'm
the
like, honey,
front
please.
door.
I was giving them
Shut the
babies.
front door.
I would get the thick syringes from Publix, because Publix have real nice medicine syringes. So whenever I was
Really?
nursing, and it would be wintertime, I would give them syringe fulls of breast milk, the older two.
Shut the front door. Now, did y'all? Let me
Yep.
pull this back up. Oh, let me see. I don't know if they're still here, but I see Lala. I see Jennifer. I see Daisha. Okay, so did y'all know that?
And people
I
be
do.
like,
I do
oh.
put the drops in, even with the drops of oregano oil. Tamika, child, that stuff be burning. I'm like, oh goodness. I'm like, who? And I give Dallas some. So like for me, when I do put, I have to get some more. But when I put it in, I probably put about 5 or 6 drops in, maybe 6 or 7, and it'd be child. I had to just suck it up. Um. Oh goodness. And then, but with him, I might give him like 1 or 2 and some orange juice. And so he'll be, he be like, Mom, this is, oh my God, this all. I'm like, boy, you're gonna take this.
Get it
Isn't
down.
that interesting, Deanna? Like, I didn't know, child. I mean, the child Dallas is far from breast milk found.
Right.
Child ain't no milk up in here. You hear me? It's all
Right.
gone. So
All
you
gone.
might want to tell if your grandson's mother, if she's nursing, child, get some of that milk and hold on to it until you need some when you get sick.
I used to listen. That was my big thing when the pandemic happened and my baby sister had just started nursing. I'm like, I want some of that milk. Let me get some of
Really?
that milk. Yes. Me and the kids were taking shots and syringes at the beginning of the pandemic.
Shut the front door. I did not know that. Did y'all know that? I want to know. Did anybody know that? Because I didn't know that. But I told y'all she is all things, child. Urban Girl Farm, child. She know all the urban
I'm
things.
learning. I'm still learning.
She know more than I do, so she know. Um, but yeah. So what else are y'all using? Are y'all using Mucinex? Are you using Robitussin? What are y'all using? So one of my go tos is Theraflu, the liquid kind, and the kind I just got, and I probably should have just went to Target where I normally go. I use the warming formula, the warming relief, and that normally helps. I do hot toddies, and so like I actually have a ginger brandy. My dad used to use a blackberry brandy in the hot toddy, but I found a ginger brandy, and so I use that with the hot toddy. What else? What y'all use? I want to know, child, because listen, I'm using all the things the last couple of days, really over the last like week or so, I've been taking tablespoons of honey, because I know that that's got natural nutrients and stuff in it as well. Child, just all the things, but I bet you I'm about to whip up this spicy lemonade, and I might not have shots of uh okay. We can close
Yeah.
out. I might not have shots of breast milk, but I can totally make some shots of the spicy lemonade.
Yes, you
Um,
can.
yes. So, it says I started using the emergency packs again. Okay. You know, they actually have those with elderberry as well. I saw those and I was like, ooh, but I wasn't sure. So I might have to get some of those. Um, so it's 9:56. I thought we were gonna end at like 9 o'clock, and then Nyisha popped in and we started talking all things reading and writing and arithmetic and you know, taking care of ourselves.
Yes.
Um, and so we gonna let y'all go, and you all have a good night. Y'all have a happy Thanksgiving.
Have a
Um,
happy Thanksgiving.
if you're on my email list, let me know, because you all didn't like respond. So I'm sure you all are probably like, whatever you share, I probably will, I don't know, take advantage of it. But if there's some things like if you're like, ooh, for Black Friday, you know, based off of what I offer, child, don't ask me to offer something I don't offer. But if it's like you like, ooh, I would like that. But you all have a good night. You all stay well, bundle up, because this weather is shady, specifically those of y'all who are here up north. I'm not gonna say nothing about the down south down there, because you know every now and then they got that 80-degree weather that I'm just not gonna talk about. Um, but y'all be well. Enjoy
Yes.
your holiday, however you decide to spend it. We talked a little bit about that earlier. Enjoy the sweets, enjoy the family, enjoy maybe just spending time on your own. And just make sure that you're making time to rest. Pay attention to your body, listen to your body, and you know, just don't overexert yourself. And so I will share the link to this book. I share them both in the comments, but I'll make sure that if there are other books as well, I'll share that as well, so that you all can have access to those. And I think outside of that, y'all have a good night. And we'll see y'all next month sometime. We're not sure when it's going to be, but I hope you
Yes.
all enjoyed these last 3 weeks of Girl Talk After Dark. We've been having really
Yes.
good conversation. And like I said, it has been unscripted and unfiltered. We just kind of just chit chat, and we get to learn about each other and share resources and that sort of thing. So if there are topics or anything that you think you may want to talk about, let us know. Put it in the chat, inbox me, email me, or whatever. And then, other than that, if you're coming to I Speak Life Live, then I will see you in 2 weeks. And if
Yes.
not, I will see you on Monday for, if I'm feeling well, our Monday morning walk talk here in the group. And so if you're on YouTube, make sure you get in the Facebook group. I go live every Monday morning between 7:45 and 8. And I think that's it. So that's that. I
That's
love you.
it. It's been wonderful. Sorry again for coming in late, but I'm wonderful conversation, and we'll see you all on the other side of Thanksgiving. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, ladies.
Bye bye.